Further debate. The member for Nipissing.
Thank you very much, Speaker, for the opportunity to rise to speak in support of this private member's bill. Speaker, as I've said many times in this legislature, we like to record a lot of these things, not just for posterity, but for the benefit of all Ontarians. And so what I'm about to talk about can be found in the latest issue of Fedeli Focus on Finance, which you can find online at fedeli.com. I'd just like to continue to share that as I do every opportunity that I can, especially when Mr. Miller is in the chair. On January 1st of this year, changes to Ontario's estate administration tax quietly came into force. In the months that have since passed, Ontarians slowly became aware of the impacts of these changes. Unfortunately, they occur at one of the most difficult periods in people's lives, and that is after the passing of a loved one. So I want to give absolute acknowledgement and credit to the member from Lambton, Kent, Middlesex, in bringing this private member's bill. We only get one member's bill at a session, Speaker, and he put a lot of thought and a lot of time developing this, thinking it through for a bill that would be most important to not only his constituents, but to the constituents throughout Ontario. And so I commend and congratulate the member for bringing this important issue as his one and only private member's bill. Good use of the bill. Again, Speaker, the government has acted before fully considering the implications of a policy change. Originally, the estate administration tax was not a tax. Rather, it was a probate needed to be acquired by the executor of an estate. This fee was directly tied to property. It was tripled, incidentally, by the NDP government in 1992 to get more revenue. If you remember those days, not unlike today, where we have horrible deficits. So they tripled that rate back then. The rate became $5 for every $1,000 worth of property, up to $50,000 total property, and $15 for every $1,000 worth of property past that threshold. Because of the tripling of costs, people began to find ways to avoid paying the tax. In 1995, the word probate was changed to certificate of appointment of an estate trustee. That was it. In 1998, a Supreme Court of Canada case ruled that the probate fee actually constituted a tax, and it was directly tied to the amount of property and not the probate service being provided. Thus, the government of the day changed the probate fee name to a direct tax on deceased property. However, the then Mike Harris government of the day kept the rates the same as the probate fee to make the change neutral. It was a name change. I know this is a correction of many of the things you've heard earlier in this legislature, Speaker, but we stand by the Hansard records of the day. In 2011, then Finance Minister Dwight Duncan targeted people who were avoiding the tax and committed to new regulations to ensure the value that people were declaring in their certificate applications were accurate and that everyone was paying their tax. These were approved in the 2011 budget, but were incidentally opposed by the PCs, the official opposition of that day. In 2014, Finance Minister Charles Sousa did go to further change the regulations around the estate administration tax to shorten the amount of time to file information and pay the fees within 90 days. Minister Sousa also made it so that more information was required and the executor had 30 days to respond. If the executor did not reply, a fine could be issued. Those penalties are capped at twice the owed tax or 2 years in prison. This is fundamentally the changes that were made, Speaker. Specifically, there are worries the short 90-day reporting deadline will make people more hesitant to accept the important role of acting as an executor, and the stress and potential penalties for failing to meet the new requirements will make a difficult time even worse for grieving family members. Speaker, this was done by regulation. This never came to this legislature. There was no debate. Therefore, again, I congratulate the member for bringing this to the people of Ontario, and hope that this government is not going to continue to tax those even after their death.